So, at the beginning of the film, we see a movie crew. They're searching for a good location to shoot in the jungle, and night falls. There were 3 of them, the 2 main men and their cameraman, but she had lost her way and was wandering around the jungle, returning to the same spot over and over again. This meant they were all lost. So, the 3 of them began looking for a good spot to pitch their tent. But during their search, they spotted a man standing in front of them, waiting for them. When he turned his face, they were shocked to see he was wearing a strange mask. They were terrified and quickly fled. Obviously, anyone standing in the middle of the jungle with such a mask would be in a panic. Well, the masked man wasn't alone. He had 2 other companions, one of whom was a girl. The man on the movie crew takes his mobile phone out of his bag to check for signal, hoping to call for help. But then a masked man arrives and kills him with a chainsaw, leaving only 2 members of the crew, a woman and a cameraman. But even those poor people don't survive for long, as a masked killer kills the woman and another cameraman. They too suffer a horrific death, all recorded on the cameraman's camera. The scene shifts, and they see another movie crew. This one also consists of only 3 members, a girl named Hope, her partner, and a cameraman. A producer had asked them to find a suitable cabin for their short film, but they couldn't find one anywhere. But Hope suggested that they might find one in the woods. Then they all hopped into a car and headed off into the woods. Then, on the way, they stop at a gas station to fill up the car. The cameraman, who was filling up the car and recording everything, explains that the producer had instructed him to record everything. "That's why I'm doing this," he said. "The producer has said that the camera should never be turned off." Then, they all go into the forest. They spot a cabin in the middle of the forest. Hope's companion, named Bun, is terrified. He insists they should leave. But Hope ignores him and starts going inside when she hears a girl screaming from in front. So, they all go inside to investigate. They see that a TV is on, and the screaming is actually coming from that TV. They start checking the entire cabin. Then, they find the cabin's owner. He gets angry at them, but they tell him everything. They heard the screaming coming from this cabin. That's why they came inside. Here, Hope tells the cabin owner, "We'd like to rent this cabin for 2 days." The cabin owner, considering the circumstances, asks for $2,000 for 2 days, which is too much. He's actually taking advantage of their helplessness. Since they still have to make the movie, Hope offers him $750 a day. The owner initially refuses, but later agrees, believing it's a good amount for him. Hope gives her the money, and the owner is about to leave, but he pauses, forbidding them from going deeper into the forest, as there's a group of people living inside who might not like them. He explains that many people from that group used to live there, but then the government came and drove them away. Some of them left, while others remained hidden in the forest. After sharing all this, Bonner leaves. Hope and Ben are overjoyed, having found this cabin with great difficulty, which would be perfect for their short film. Hope shares this news with the producer, who says he's coming to see it soon. Celebrating the cabin's success, Hope, Ben, and cameraman Hope share drinks, then head out into the woods to find a suitable location. She notices that the entire forest is perfect for their film. As Hope scans the surroundings, she spots someone walking through the bushes, but pays no attention. The 3 men go inside the cabin to check out the locations where they shot in the woods. They spot the masked man shown in the video at the beginning, and Hope becomes alarmed. She asks Ben to close all the cabin's windows and doors. Shortly after, the producer arrives. They all explain everything to the producer and show him the footage. But he insists it's just some kid playing a prank. The producer tells Ben to stay put, but Hope doesn't want to stay any longer. The producer says they'll spend the night somewhere else, but they'll have to wait a little while because a colleague is coming to check the cabin. She tells Bun, who is sitting near the window, to pack out. As Hope looks out the window, she sees the masked man, and luckily, everything was recorded on camera. She immediately tells the producer everything. He's just about to check the camera when someone knocks on the door. When the producer goes out to check, no one is there. The producer thinks it's just a kid playing a prank, so he goes back inside. Pure Ben explains to Bun that they're overthinking it. "Don't worry so much," he says, "and we should start shooting our short film." He's just talking about this when there's another knock on the door. This time, when the producer goes out to check, there are the same 3 masked killers. The producer approaches them and threatens them to leave, but they don't even move. Then, suddenly, one of the men hits the producer on the head with a hammer, causing him to bleed profusely and die a painful death. The cameraman quickly comes inside the cabin with his camera. The 3 are utterly shocked by what has happened to the producer. It's now clear why there was no signal, because the masked killers had a device to block signals. The trouble is getting worse, as the lights have gone out. The masked killers are standing outside, waiting for Hope, Ben, and the cameraman. Hope says, "We need weapons to defend ourselves." So they go to the kitchen and take a knife each. They also find flashlights there, which they take. The 3 of them enter another room, and a masked man is standing outside. Just then, the lights come back on, and Hope finds a box downstairs containing several CDs. One of them has a girl's name written on it. Hope puts it in the DVD player and plays it. Inside, there's footage of this very girl. The masked men forcibly take her outside, tie her hands and feet. Then, they run a lawnmower over her face, mutilating her entire face and causing her to die in agony. The horrifying thing is that the room where the girl was sleeping was actually part of this cabin. This meant that whoever the masked men were, they had been doing this for a long time. They would kill anyone who came to this cabin or the woods. They would also film them. Now, after careful consideration, they asked the masked men themselves, "What do you want?" They said they just want a girl. Hope, which makes Hope even more nervous. She then tries to convince the masked woman that she didn't do anything. She's just a filmmaker, so she should let them go. But, of course, the masked killers wouldn't listen, and Bun also tries to convince Hope that they won't understand anything. Just then, the producer's partner arrives in a car and Hope tells Bun that the 3 of them can reach the car. While they're discussing this, the killers send a video to Hope's phone. Upon playing the video, they saw that the killers had captured the producer's partner and were brutally assaulting him with a drill. The brutality escalated when they began pulling out his nails. Unsatisfied, they killed him. Everyone was horrified by this. Furthermore, they brought the producer's partner's body to the window and punctured the tires of his car, meaning they had completely foiled his plan to reach the car. Now, Bun tried to find a signal to call the police by moving away from the killers. But he returned inside even faster than he had left, as the 3 men had also brutally attacked Bun, leaving him in a critical condition. Once inside, Bun noticed that only 2 killers were outside the window. Where did the 3rd one go? Wondering if they had gotten inside, they began checking the cabin to see if he had entered. Ben had also kept a crowbar nearby for protection. When they both enter the room, everything is scattered. When Ben approaches the bed to check on Surtees, the 3rd killer, who had been hiding under the bed, comes out and grabs Ben's legs. Then Ben thrusts the crowbar into the killer's face, killing him instantly. The 2 remaining killers outside attempt to burn down the entire cabin to force Hope, Ben, and the cameraman out. They each shoot a camera with them to record everything. But then the lights go out, and the masked lady attacks them. Hope, who had quickly escaped from the cabin, runs into the woods to escape. However, the lights return inside the cabin, and the masked lady attacks Ben. She had caught her from behind, and Ben wasted no time in plunging the knife into her neck, killing her. The cameraman and Ben then ran out of the cabin and fled. However, the darkness outside separated them. Meanwhile, Hope continued on through the woods, but was suddenly attacked by the last remaining killer with a chainsaw. Hope managed to escape and reach her car. However, the killer appeared again with a chainsaw, and Hope fled once again. The cameraman received the signal and, just as he was about to call the police, another masked man appeared. He attacked the cameraman from behind and killed him. This killer wasn't the one with the chainsaw. This meant there were many others out there doing similar dangerous things. Hope ran and reached the road. A car is also coming down the road, carrying none other than the cabin owner. Hope gets in the car, explains everything to the owner, and now she's asking for help. But instead of helping, the owner starts taking Hope back to the cabin, and then we learn the shocking news that the owner was one of those masked men. Realizing this, Hope plunges a knife into the cabin owner's stomach and escapes. Then we see Bun, still on the run from the masked men. But then he reaches an old cabin, inside which he finds the cameraman's body. When Penn goes inside to investigate, the killer suddenly appears with a knife. He attacks Penn with a knife, killing him. Meanwhile, Bun records a message, saying, "This could be my last message. I want to say that if anyone finds this video, they should hunt down and kill these masked men with the help of the police." Then she starts looking for a way out. Meanwhile, a man with a mask was recording Hope, and Hope discovers this. So she sets a trap for the killer. She sets a trap to catch him. As soon as he falls into the trap, Hope quickly smashes the last killer's head with a rock. She kills him by relentlessly beating him. Hope was about to escape, but then the man with the knife appears and cuts Hope's stomach with it. Hope continues to run, and the killer is still after her. He finds him, but this time, Hope plunges her knife into his chest, ripping him apart, ultimately killing him. We then see a video of Hope's statement about her escape. This is her podcast, in which she tells how her friends were killed by those masked men. "I was almost killed too, but I faced them and barely managed to escape." She then reveals that she's going to make a big movie about these things. After the podcast, Hope goes home to sleep. Meanwhile, someone sneaks into their house and starts recording a video. It turns out it was none other than one of those masked men. After that, he finally kills Hope too. This means that poor Hope, who was happy to have escaped the killer, is the only survivor. But they didn't spare even that poor girl. As we know, in addition to the dead mask killers, there were many others who had been pursuing him ever since, and they killed him as soon as they got the chance. These mask killers kill anyone who comes here. According to them, the forest is their home, and they don't spare anyone who comes here, because they don't want anyone other than them to enter. They believe that city dwellers coming into the forest destroy their land, their way of life, and most importantly, their very lives, which they can't tolerate. Now, according to them, they are protecting their home, the forest, but in a very dangerous way, because killing anyone without reason is absolutely wrong. Therefore, we will call them crazy, psycho killers. They even make movies about them to prove that we do this to anyone who tries to tease us. And with this horrific ending, the film ends here.